So joining me now is S Gurumurthy, editor of the Tughlaq magazine. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. The emergency is back in the spotlight now with the Prime Minister, President and Speaker talking about it. And the opposition too is marching with copies of the Constitution. You have witnessed the emergency. In fact, you sort of played a role in anti-emergency protests as well. How do you see the latest controversy of a Samajwadi Party MP saying that the Sengol needs to be replaced with the Constitution in the Parliament, in the Lok Sabha? What does the Sengol that was used by Chola kings actually mean for a democracy like India?
What does Satyameva Jayate have to do with Indian democracy? What is Yato Dharmas Tato Jayaha? What does Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha? What does these things to do with Indian democracy, constitution? This is the soul of the Indian constitution. Indian constitution is not a collection of words. If it were a collection of words, the constitution that Mrs. Gandhi amended in 1976 and made it part of the constitution on the 17th of December, where the constitution could be amended by ordinary laws and it could not be questioned by court, that no one could approach the Supreme Court directly, that the state high courts cannot deal with central laws, that all organizations, including political parties, could be banned as unlawful associations, which would have led to the establishment of a single party rule. That would be the Constitution of India. What are these people talking about the Constitution without addressing what is its soul? So the soul of the Constitution did not originate on 26th January 1950. It has thousands of years of continuity. If Xi Jinping recalls 5,000-year Chinese culture and civilization, will we start on 26th January 1950? This is the extent of illiteracy that prevails in the Indian political discourse. The Congress is caught badly because this is the 50th anniversary of the emergency, and I am a personal participant in it in two ways. One, actually doing the underground movement, printing literature, supplying rations to people who are in jail, to the families. And as advisor to India, I joined almost at about the same time, advising the Indian Express and working with Goenka, fighting the cutting off electricity. And then Indian Express machinery, printing machinery was auctioned without the knowledge of Indian Express. They had come to remove. We had to go to the court to stay it. This is the excesses during the emergency. But what is more important is not the 21-year horror. Please understand. The media must understand. The country must understand. The political activists must understand. Even the new crop of judges who have come in the court must understand that a permanent reconstitution of the constitution was done on 17th December 1976 after assuring herself that it will be only an autocratic government and there will be only one party because she could ban all other parties. Mrs. Gandhi ordered elections. Advani, I received him in the Chennai railway station from Bangalore. In a small group, I asked him, Advaniji, what is our response? What he told me shook me. He said, Gurumurthy ji, my problem is if we don't contest the elections, we are finished. Because that you guys can't even contest the elections against me. If we contest the elections and lose, which is more probable, then what all she said, including the 42nd Amendment, would be valid. Had that happened, had Janata Party not won, Mrs. Gandhi had won, what would be the constitution which Rahul Gandhi would be waving in the parliament today? Should the question not be posed to him, to his party? 30 years, this whole thing was done away with. Mrs. Gandhi came, she completely removed all the records about the emergency, including the Shaw Commission report. It is Ira Cheyenne who had one copy of the Shaw Commission report. He applied under the RTA Act for Shaw Commission report. The government said no copy is available. So we had to reprint it. And the title is, it is available on the net, you can go through it. Shaw Commission report, lost and regained. Because of that one man, because one copy was available. That was released in Chennai by Advani and Cho Ramaswamy in the year 2010. So one record is available about what happened during the emergency. The most important thing is they wanted to perpetuate the emergency.
Okay.
It was not a 21-month-year aura. It was to be permanent.
Right. But sir, the opposition is also saying that the emergency happened 49 years ago and there's no use of driving a car by constantly looking at the rearview mirror. How do you respond to that?
First of all, the opposition itself is caught on that. They said it is an undeclared emergency. So we have to say what is declared emergency? What would happen in a declared emergency? So let us compare the undeclared emergency and the declared emergency. That you have been talking about undeclared emergency for the last 3 years, gentlemen. Now juxtapose the two. So opposition is caught. They said there is no democracy in this country. Every third day the Supreme Court is slapping the central government. And the Supreme Court, by giving one judgment, if it gives one judgment in favor of the government, a huge show, or the court has succumbed. So two judgments have to go against the government. This is how institutions are being distorted by wrong public discourse. So I think now it is better, the whole thing comes up again.
Okay.
You try to suppress it for 30 years, now you enjoy it.
Right. But sir, coming back to the Sengol, there is a side that believes while it is pertinent to emphasize on constitutional values, it's also important to remember that there is a nation that existed before independence as well, and hence it is very important to appreciate symbols of ancient India. But the reality today, Mr. Gurumurthy, is also that we are in a constitutional democracy. It's a constitution that's holding us together as equals, and the past may also have painful reminders of origins of caste discrimination or even feudal atrocities. Is that why every time symbols of ancient India, come into the spotlight, just as the Sengol, they are often seen very subjectively?
If the word dharma is accepted as part of the constitutional soul of India, the Sengol represents what is known as dharma dhanda. In fact, in Ramayana, there is an episode. Rama asks Vasishta, am I the supreme? Vasishta says he touches Rama's head thrice with Sengol and says, this is supreme. Rule of law is supreme. Dharma is supreme. Dharma is equal to the Constitution of India, and anyone who is the president or prime minister must be reminded by a symbol that this is the tradition from Ashoka's days. This is the tradition which was adopted by none other than the Congress party for symbolizing the... In fact, they try to trivialize it. They try to question it. It is completely established now that this did happen and it had this significance, but you wanted to trivialize it by making it into a walking stick. There also you were caught. So now what letter this Chaudhary has written, let the Congress stand up and support it. They can't. So I can't say one MP writing is an opposition view. And now Congress has taken up this constitution, the emergency issue. How many parties are going to support it? Let us see. Misa Bharati's name still stands as testimony to what happened during the emergency. So I think the opposition cannot put its act together because each one of them is driven by extreme personal, party, caste, self-interest. Let them say these are the 4 points for which we are opposing Modi, and this is our alternative.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Gurumurthy. Always a pleasure to have you on my show. Thank you so much for joining us. Also joining us now is Selam Dharanidharan of the DMK and Anil Anthony of the BJP. Thank you so much for joining us.